Struck down by illness or injury? Follow these tips to help you get back to full fitness sooner. We've all heard of the saying, listen to your body, but never is that more important than when it comes to recovering from an illness. There are so many types of illness and we will all experience them to differing degrees, so let's assume you've had a fairly regular type of virus for this video and that you're coming to the end of that illness. The number one starting point that I cannot overstate enough is that you should not rush back into training. You must leave sufficient recovery time for your body after illness to prevent secondary issues arising, and I promise you these will set you back further than had you taken the extra recovery days to start with. Patience really helps here, and we recommend a minimum of 48 hours symptom-free before attempting to resume any training. This is going to help you avoid complications such as myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart muscle that can lead to more serious issues if not treated respectfully, pleurisy, which is an inflammation within the lining of the lung and the chest wall, or post-viral fatigue syndrome. I promise these are best avoided for your long-term health, and to experience any of them will only draw out your return to fitness. So heed the advice and rest more than you think perhaps to be necessary. Let's start with hydration and nutrition. This will offer your body the most support in your return to full health and fitness. Now is an especially important time to address your needs and requirements. Aim not to overdrink or overeat, but you should aim to provide your body with just enough of the basic nourishment that it needs when recovering from an illness. Make sure you eat plenty of foods rich in vitamin A, B, high in iron, as these will help you recover and gain strength and improve your immune system. Think of this as the foundation of your fitness, and know that you can and should implement this from day one of the illness. Another side note to this is to develop good practice around how you sleep. Wherever possible, you should look to fall asleep and wake up at a similar time every day. We all have slightly different needs for sleep, but it is universally beneficial to, as a minimum, create a good routine for sleeping. There is plenty of furthering advice out there to help improve your sleep, things like avoiding stimulants late in the day or blue light in the hours before bed. This is again part of a building block to your recovery and should not be overlooked. Often the simplest of processes are the ones that we skip as we dismiss them as being too small and insignificant to make any change, or not as challenging to conduct as the larger changes we could perhaps make, and therefore not as rewarding. But getting the basics right will really make a big difference, as these are the things that we do day in, day out. They add up to an incredibly large part of the full picture of an athlete, and because of this, can offer a huge increase in the potential over a longer period of time. Back to the physical training. Once you've noticed a full recovery and have adhered to the rest is best rule, we strongly recommend avoiding the temptation to pick up where you left off. Introduce your body to training with a very light session to start with, riding primarily in zone 1 and being incredibly disciplined with the amount of time that you increase that intensity up to zone 2. An approach that works well is to start off with less than 40% of your normal capacity and training on a 1 day on, 1 day off cycle for the first week. Then if all is going to plan, you can build up over the next 2 to 3 weeks until you are back to your normal training volume. The goal is to rebuild after an illness, not break the body down, as can often be the goal in the more advanced stages of training. With this in mind, now is a good time to mention that it is widely recognised you should expect your return to fitness to take roughly 3 times the duration of your illness. Did you have 10 days off? Then you should expect it to take 30 days to return. This is a rough guide only, and we all experience this process differently as we lead vastly different lives from one another and have varying levels of fitness that we sustain, gain and lose over any given period. But as a guide, it is helpful advice to help you manage your own expectations. The first 3 days of your rebuild should really focus on zone 1 training. Keep the duration short, ideally no more than 60 minutes. It is important at this point to listen to your body. How are you feeling when you're waking? How are the sensations on the bike? How is any muscle pain that you're experiencing? How's your appetite? What are your energy levels like off the bike? Resting body metrics like HRV and heart rate are also a useful indicator of how you are responding, though tuning into your own sensations will be more beneficial long term as you gain a deeper understanding of what your body is trying to tell you, and then using the data purely as a way of quantifying any feelings with a number that you can track over a period of time. Over the opening stages of rebuilding your training, you should still be prepared for small setbacks along the way. Remaining flexible throughout this period and expecting this to happen will help you manage them more effectively. Just remember, 2 steps forward and 1 step backward is still progress. The processes for recovering from illness and injury are really quite similar. The main principles remain the same, with the added advice of aiming to prevent the injury from repeating itself. Most injuries in the endurance sport world are from overuse or imbalances. With this in mind, an extended period of rest may be required to reduce inflammation and allow time for recovery, or to allow time for the introduction of remedial exercises to prevent a recurring issue from keeping you from training in the future. If the latter is the case, it's really important to maintain the exercises you've been set even after the sensation of injury starts to disappear. You may find it beneficial to make an ongoing assessment as you rebuild. What was challenging to start with may now not be pushing you enough to continue with the progress that you seek. As with recovery from illness, the ability to tune into the sensations within your body is very important to help guide your return to full fitness. Use this to help dictate the volume and the intensity of your training. In the early days of return to health and fitness, less really can be more. The first week is often the most crucial time for your body, so avoid overdoing it and setting yourself back further. Check out more training advice from the Le Cycling Club over here. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.